A Christmas Princess is a pretty enjoyable film. There are many films where a local girl meets this prince and she ends up working for him or spending time with him, and it's all about their relationship while usually the prince tries to have a normal existence. And this is exactly what we get here. And I have to say, if you like that kind of film, I think this will really appeal. And thankfully, I do typically like that kind of film. This was released in 2019. It's directed by Fred Olen Ray, written by Fred Olen Ray and Peter Sullivan, and it stars Shein Mompremier as Jessica, and we have Travis Byrnes as Prince Jack. And Jessica runs a restaurant, but unfortunately, the restaurant isn't doing very well. And Prince Jack is trying to find somebody to cater the annual event that the royals put on, and he kind of follows his nose and ends up in Jessica's kitchen. And Jessica doesn't actually know who he is to begin with. And he orders some of her meatloaf and he tries it and decides that he wants to hire her to cater this event. She's not exactly enthusiastic about it, but her restaurant isn't doing very well. So she kind of realizes that this might be her one and only opportunity to save her restaurant. So she does it, and it's all about her starting to work on the menu, spending time with Prince Jack, and of course, in true Christmas rom-com style, we have a lot of focus on their relationship. I like the fact that Jessica wasn't immediately head over heels in love with Prince Jack. That's not to say every character is in this kind of film, but often, once the female protagonist realizes it's the prince, she becomes very curious about him and wants to spend time around him, whether that's out of affection or just a fascination with his lifestyle. But Jessica really didn't care. And I think that was kind of refreshing and definitely meant that the development of the relationship was a little bit more unpredictable. I couldn't time exactly when certain things would happen. And I enjoyed that part of it. The other thing that makes this a little different to the average film like this is that it's not really set in a palace. A lot of, well, actually, I was going to say pretty much every prince-based story is set in a palace or some kind of grand environment. We do have some gorgeous interior locations here, but a lot of it is in Jessica's kitchen and outside, and I think that helped to get the sense that Jack was trying to live this normal existence, at least temporarily, away from the press. But of course, that doesn't always go according to plan. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice way to tell this story. I thought Jessica had a very refreshing perspective. Again, that's not to say that every other character in this kind of film phones over the prince, but commonly it does happen. And I think they were both Prince Jack and Jessica were both very likable characters. It's got a decent amount of Christmas in it as well. And we have some, as I said, gorgeous interiors. The kitchen designs are sometimes actually very basic and very clinical, but in a way that kind of felt inviting at the same time. I realise they're opposing thoughts, but hopefully you'll know what I mean by that if you see it. I think it's the fact that particularly with Jessica's kitchen, yes, it was a kitchen, but at the same time it's somewhere that was hers and she loved it, and it was kind of like we were being invited into that environment, and I think that was very welcoming, and I rather enjoyed that. So definitely a really good example of this kind of film. It's not going to be for everybody. I know not everybody is going to love this narrative, and if it's not your kind of film, I completely respect that. But if you do like the films where we have our female protagonist meeting a male prince, well, let's be honest, it usually is a female meeting a male prince. It's very, not impossible, but very, very rare that it's a male protagonist meeting a female princess. It doesn't happen very often. I've also just realised how peculiar the title for this is, A Christmas Princess. Might be giving away a little bit too much. I mean, it's predictable. It is a predictable film. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But in a way, that's comforting and reassuring, and I rather enjoyed it. If this is your kind of film, if you like films about royals around Christmas time, then A Christmas Princess is one that's definitely worth checking out.